No buzz. A Just Bees book club. Today we're talking about Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I do not have a copy of the book in my hands today because I listened to it on audiobook. As I have done a few things in the last month, however long it's been since the last time I recorded the three of those. These, I guess, is more accurate. So got nothing to reference, got nothing to hold up, got nothing to flip through, so I'm just going to be staring directly at you this entire time. This is a Just Bees book club. Did I say that already? I think this is a Just Bees book club. So if you're a bee and you're not, if you're a bee and you're watching this, mm, that's correct. If you're not a bee and you're watching this, that's incorrect. If you're not a bee and you're not watching this, that's also correct. Um, anyway, certain dark things. Silvia Moreno-Garcia is an author I have been a fan of for a long time. I hadn't really read any of her books until Mexican Gothic came out in 2020, but I had read a number of her short stories. I remember quite liking them back around like 2012, 2013. She's always been a very, very good writer, but I hadn't engaged with her longer fiction. I don't think I've talked about any of her books on this particular program because I've read them all before a year ago, which is about when I started this as of this recording. I think Mexican Gothic is a phenomenal book. One of my favorite, probably easily top five books in the last 3 years, which is not an arbitrary thing. That's as long as I've been a bookseller. So as long as I've been reading like roughly between 70 and 100 books a year. Um, so that's not a small sample size, is what I'm saying. And now people are texting me. Weird. Um, so I've also read Velvet Was the Night, a book I liked quite a bit but didn't fall in love with, which I think is about where I'm landing with Certain Dark Things as well. I think it is as exemplary of her style as um, as like a genre surgeon as any of the other things of hers I've read, including short stories. And again, those have been like a decade ago, so I don't remember exactly the titles or anything. Um, but Sylvia Moreno Garcia has this like impeccable ability to like distill 2 to 7 genres into their like utmost essence, run them up against each other, and produce something that like never once fails to exemplify the genre. Um, Essence versus exemplance. Uh, this is why this is a Just Bees book club. That's not a funny joke. I find it funny though. Um, there's like the way she can like boil down the genre and then spit something out that like perfectly encapsulates it. And again, I think Mexican Gothic does this better than anything of hers I've read. But Velvet Was the Night does it very well. Certain Dark Things does this specifically with like vampire fiction, um, and noir. I think are the two really big ones. And part of the reason I didn't like it as much as Mexican Gothic, for instance, I'm not a big fan of vampire fiction. Simple as that. I think she also does a really good job with a sort of paranormal romance um, the paranormal romance subgenre in here. I think that's a topic I'm much less well versed in. So I could be incorrect, or I could be coming at it from a particular angle that readers of that genre wouldn't like. But I don't think that's what I'm saying. When I say that she like boils down a genre into its perfect essence, I don't think I mean she perfectly encapsulates the thing that people who read a genre like. I think she's really good at grabbing um, the essence of the genre, whether that is a fleeting image, a brief touch, a character archetype, whatever sort of like is at the core. Like a burning house, for instance. Not to spoil anything. Um, but in this one, there's the paranormal romance stuff that I think she handles really well, and I think this book ends particularly well, actually. Just putting that out there. Um, there's the vampire stuff, which is always this like really tightrope walk, you know, since fucking Stoker, this tightrope walk of sexy political allegory alongside info dump. And I think that's the parts where she gets right about the way that vampires have always been fundamentally about info dumping. Um, is sort of the worst parts of this book for me. Um, and then the thing that I think like she absolutely fucking knocks out of the park is the noir stuff in certain dark things. To back it up a little bit, this was published initially, I think, in 2016. Kind of didn't, kind of like died on the vine, primarily due to marketing, I think. And then got republished in 2021, sort of off the back of her um, I mean, off the back of her success with Mexican Gothic, but also off the back of like the broader success of horror fiction in like the late 2010s, early 2020s. That is, you know, exemplified in the U.S. market by the creation of Tor Nightfire, the Tor books horror imprint specifically. That does not come out of a vacuum, obviously, um, and um, yeah, the noir elements, specifically the way that noir structurally is about uh, how fucked everything is, how fucked the world is, and how fucked the people are navigating it. Not even necessarily through their own faults. It's not an extension of the hubris causes the hero's downfall sort of thing. Um, in noir fiction, at least my understanding of it, um, systemically everything is so deeply fucked that characters aren't agents so much as they are humans who react to how deeply fucked things are. And there's little sprinkles of like post-human, you know, it gets lumped in with cyberpunk, but I don't think it quite is in this book. But like specifically, yeah, post-human I think is probably the best way to say it. Like body modification, dog body modification stuff in this book. It's, you know, it follows the adventures of Otto and Domingo. Domingo's a street kid who is a trash picker. Otto is a sort of a last of her vampire clan. Um, there's a dude named, I think, Nicky, who is like chasing her because of some feuds. There's another dude who is like his what they call Renfield after Dracula. A book I've never read, by the way. Spoiler, not spoiler. Springing that on you after I've already sort of talked like I have. Um, uh, so they're like the human companions of vampires. There's another dude whose name I cannot remember, who's like the example of the like revenant vampire, these like really old fucked up vampires. Nikki is like the necro vampire, which is like the European vampire but like shark toothed. Atla is like the pre-Aztec style of vampire. Her like in her introduction, her like she removes her gloves and her nails are long and black and pointed, and then it's like the narrator reveals that it's not because they're polished and sharpened, it's because bird. She's got bird stuff. She doesn't transform into a bat. She's got bird sort of powers, and all the different vampires have different. All the vampires from different cultures have different things. Vampires are also born not made in this fiction. This is the other thing. The world building is fucking cool. It didn't like fucking tear me in two in the same way that like Binti by Nnedi Okorafor is like maybe my favorite piece of world building I've read in that same sort of period. This last like 3 years or so. Um, the way that Okorafor like just teases out these like really interesting. It's not even teases out. She like does a brush stroke and implies so many incredible things about that world. Moreno Garcia is more interested uh, in diving deep into Mexico City specifically, and then looking at the way that it differentiates itself. So the setting of the book is Mexico City. It's like a vampire-free zone, which is really interesting because there's I can't really get into all the intricacies because I don't remember them. Is the truth, um, but trust me when I say. She does a very good job of interspersing the story throughout the story, both the feeling of being in a real living city that is also inhabited by vampires that people have known about since the 70s, that are the specific, you know, they're genealogical vampires rather than epidemiological vampires, I guess. Um, there's just a lot of, I mean, yeah, I feel very mixed on this book ultimately, because I quite like it a lot, but I didn't like nothing like particular just like grabbed me by the throat and made me go, yo, what the fuck? Um, Aside from the fact of just seeing Moreno Garcia like just fucking like Babe Ruth point hit the home run, just like play with genre in a way that like I don't want to make that sound purely like formal or like an academic like interest. It is like joyous to be like, oh shit, oh shit, this person sucks too? Because this is a noir. Oh shit, of course that person sucks too. Or, you know, to be like, oh damn, there's gonna be some fucking vampire lore in this. And then you know, the 200 pages in, like, some fucking vampire lore in this, isn't there? Or at least that's my reaction. But yeah, all to say, a really a really enjoyable book. I don't think I don't know. You know, I've only read the three of them, but I suspect there's not a single Moreno Garcia book that I wouldn't enjoy. Um, I suspect there's at least one more in the in the mix that I will be absolutely gushing about at some point, whether that's Signal to Noise or The Daughter of Dr. Moreau or the one that's forthcoming sounds really good. We'll see, but um, Certain Dark Things, pretty phenomenal, honestly. Pretty excellent little exercise in reading. I guess is what I'm sort of saying with all the genre stuff, is like it's like a joy to read someone who is such a voracious and smart reader take that and flip it immediately into a fucking cool little narrative. And that's what I've got for that. I have like three more of these to record, and one of them might be like an hour long. Hey, thanks for not watching.